Hello, ladies, gentlemen, soul patches. I'm Chains, and I'm wearing glasses. And no, I'm not. This is the TheChainsProject. Today's reading is Genesis chapter 16, verse 1 to 16. That's right, 16 verses, 16 chapter. How many more times is that going to happen? I don't know. And the title of the story is The Birth of Ishmael. That's right, we're making a baby. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bore him no children. She had an Egyptian slave girl whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, "You see that the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. Go in to my slave girl. It may be that I shall obtain children by her." And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. So after Abram had lived for 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar the Egyptian, her slave girl, and gave her to her husband Abram as a wife. He went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, she looked with contempt on her mistress. Then Sarai said to Abram, "May the wrong done to me be on you. I gave my slave girl to your embrace." And when she saw she had conceived, she looked on me with contempt. May the Lord judge between you and me. But Abram said to Sarai, "Your slave girl is in your power. Do to her as you please." Then Sarai dealt harshly with her, and she ran away. The angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. And he said to her, "Hagar, slave girl of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going?" She said, "I am running away from my mistress Sarai." The angel of the Lord said to her, "Return to your mistress and submit to her." The angel of the Lord also said to her, "I will so greatly multiply your offspring so they cannot be counted for multitude." And the angel of the Lord said to her, "Now you have conceived and shall bear a son. You shall call him Ishmael, for the Lord has given heed to your affliction. He shall be a wild ass of a man with his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him. He shall live at odds with all his kin." So she named the Lord who spoke with her, "You are El Roi." For she said, "Have I really seen God and remained alive after seeing him?" Therefore the well was called Bir Lahai Roi. It lies between Kadesh and Bered. Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram named his son whom Hagar bore Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. So Sarai and Abram, still childless, and then Sarah remembers, "Oh, that's right, we have lots of slaves, and some of them are girls. Let's go get one." And maybe Abram, you can have the sex with her, make a baby, hopefully, and then, we can use that baby as our son and heir. And Abram, being the smart man he was not going to turn down the offer to sleep with another chick. Any guy would not turn that down, so he was like, "All right, whatever you say, missy." And then he slept with Hagar, and she made a baby, and then Hagar was like, "Oh yeah, I can make babies, Sarai can't." And then Sarai obviously got kind of pissed off about that. And she was like, "Come on, Abram, slap her or something. I don't know. I hate this. This is totally not fair." And then Abram was like, "Hey, it's your slave. You take care of her. I don't really care what happens." And obviously, Sarah gave her a harsh talking to, and then she ran away because Hagar is very emotional. She just had a baby, and pregnant chicks are a little bit crazy sometimes, from my understanding. So Hagar ran away to a spring somewhere, and then God was like, "I should really go talk to her, but she's pregnant, so I'll send one of my stupid angels down there." And the angel went down and was like, "Hey, what's wrong? It's okay. You're making a baby." And then she was like, "I'm running away. Duh, she's crazy." And the angel's like, "Well, you were kind of mean. Just go back and, say you're sorry or something. It'll be all better. Oh, and also, I'm going to make your kids uncountable because apparently you people think that is a great idea and reward. So we'll do that for you guys and Abram. No sweat off our back. We're just making an infinite amount of people." And then the angel's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you have to name the baby Ishmael. Otherwise the whole deal's totally off. We think that's the coolest name in heaven, and there was like a whole lottery and stuff and that happened. Yeah, so you got to name the baby Ishmael. Otherwise no infinite amount of children will come out of your lineage and whatnot." So then Hagar was like, "Wow, did I just see God? Holy crap. I should name him and then also name the place where I saw him, just in case I forget." Then she goes back to Abram and Sarai, obviously says she's sorry. Then she makes a baby, and the baby comes out, and Abram, obviously after some nice talking to with Hagar, was like, "All right, we'll name him Ishmael. Whatever, I don't really care." So Ishmael comes out, and he's all, a kid. And Abram was 86 years old when that happened. And first, as always, we got some geographical locations. We got this well in Shur. And does it still exist? Is it there? Yeah, it's there. It's right on the border of Egypt, which makes sense because, obviously, if you're from Egypt and you're a slave girl and you escape, you're going to try and go back to Egypt. So obviously, she was running back to Egypt, and she stopped there where the angel was like, "Hey, how's it going? Filling up your water bottle? Cool." The well now has its fancy name, Bir Lahai Roi. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And that translates to the well where the living one saw me, which I don't know why they didn't translate that when they translated the rest of the Bible. Kind of stupid in my opinion. And that is in southern Palestine near Negev, and that well is on the way to Shur if she came from the land of Canaan, aka Israel. So it all makes sense geographically, and nobody's talking out their ass except for me. And the name Ishmael, it is important, the angel kind of forced it on there. And what it means God will hear. So that means when you have a problem, God's obviously going to hear it because he's magic, and, he'll come and hang out with you in angel form, maybe. Who knows how that works out. That's kind of an important name. We'll talk about it later. Just remember from now, God will hear equals Ishmael. Pretty simple. Now, some people would think it's kind of weird for a married couple to get a surrogate mother, but it still happens these days, but it's, a little more scientific with like a turkey baster, not the actual sex that happens to make a baby. But it was very socially acceptable at the time when you needed more children for whatever reason, farming, just to show off your children necklace if you wanted to make one of those. I don't know how that would work out, but it was a common thing. So Abram has sex with Hagar, makes the baby. That's the whole goal. But then Hagar looks with contempt upon Sarai, and this leads to Sarai getting kind of pissed off, because it was either that she doesn't like, being sassed very much, or that she didn't think that it was just her who was the infertile one. She thought maybe Abram was also standing next to the microwave too close with his junk sometimes. So she was maybe testing that. And the reasoning for Sarai getting mad from the sass is it's kind of like Hagar was like, oh, well, I'm more of a woman than the person who's in charge of me. She can't make a baby, but I can. Even though it's not really that hard to do, and lots of stupid chicks get knocked up all the time, i.e., 16 and pregnant. Why do we even have that TV shows? And this angel that is sent down to talk with Hagar about the whole incident, it's kind of iffy if it's actually an angel or if it's God. Some translations say it's actually God, others say it isn't. The reason why people think that it is because Hagar names the place, where I've seen God, which we don't know if Hagar's just stupid and doesn't know the difference between an angel and God, or that she actually did see God, and that Abram's not just the only special person in the world at this period of time. And the moral of this story, which I think is just don't be arrogant. This whole thing wouldn't have happened at all if, Hagar wasn't all stuck up and was like, hey, I can make babies, you can't, Sarai, you're stupid. And Sarai wouldn't have got pissed off and complained to Abram. And this is a huge moral for in life, because if you act arrogant, people won't like you. I act arrogant all the time. It's one of my favorite hobbies, along with being sarcastic and magical with amazing hair. But it's not very good for when you meet people or when you're trying to do something for them and they're all emotionally distressed. They get really, really pissed off. And that is it for this episode of The Chains Project. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, leave all your comments, questions, concerns, and cantaloupes down below, or send me an email. I love emails. And I was working on an outro, but I went outside and there's way too many mosquitoes, and I'm just itchy as hell.